Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another super exciting Star Wars video. Today we are talking about Maul Shadow Lord. Oh yes. We have some very exciting new information, and I urge you to stay to the end of the video because I also have a personal announcement. Some Star Wars fans make Star Wars fan films. I've got a new project of my own, so I'd appreciate if you stay tuned for that. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive into today's video, and we're talking about Maul Shadow Lord, one of two Star Wars Disney Plus series coming in 2026, which by the way, is just a couple of months out. I think Maul Shadow Lord is probably going to release around May the 4th, that would be my prediction, and Ahsoka Season 2 is sometime between August and September. But for many, Maul is the more exciting of the two. For one thing, recent Star Wars animation has been pretty darn brilliant. I have to hand it to them. Between the Bad Batch's final season and a lot of Star Wars Visions, I was impressed with most of the Tales of anthologies. I think Lucasfilm animation is killing it. And I'm so excited for the Maul show, because lore-wise, it's gonna fill in so many gaps. This is Maul's story between the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. And as we know from the trailer shown at Star Wars Celebration, there are some genuinely jaw-dropping characters that are about to enter his life. And today, my friends, Sam Witwer has given us some more information. He's dropped a massive tease for what to expect. So this comes from his appearance at Rebel ScumCon, and Sam just cuts right to the chase. He begins by setting the record straight. Many Star Wars fans felt as though there was a massive disparity between the way Maul is in the Clone Wars, even in Season 7 when he talks to Ahsoka about Palpatine, the role of Vader and the Sith plan, versus later in Star Wars Rebels. And Sam says that this series is going to explain what he went through that changed him. And this is what fascinates me. Did Maul face Darth Vader? This is something I've theorized in the past. Maybe, but there seems to be one character that comes into Maul's life that changes him for good. And that is the mysterious Twi'lek apprentice. Some say she's Darth Talon. I've heard rumors she goes by a different name, but the archetype of the character from the expanded universe is being reused. But this character changes Maul for a very specific reason. Sam Witwer says this: Maul comes from a land of magic and colour and knights, but after the war, all of that is dead, and all of the colour has been sucked out of the galaxy by this mechanical, maniacal empire. And Maul is looking around and saying, is this what Palpatine planned? What happened to all of the Jedi? In a way, he kind of feels bad for the Jedi Order and everything that went down. Even though once upon a time he was part of the Sith plan, before Palpatine chucked him away, he has no sympathy for the Jedi. But apparently in this series, in Maul Shadow Lord, he feels duty-bound to pass on what he knows. And that view of the Force is different compared to when he was a Sith. And Sam Witwer says he's assessing almost everything about his life, and he has wisdom to pass on to the next generation. What's a master without his apprentice, especially in light of his brother's death? So he wants to continue being a master, but this time Witwer implies it's going to be different. So I'm super curious what this dynamic is going to look like. And it's also worth noting that this apprentice begins desperate, hopeless, and lost. Was this character once a Jedi Knight? Was she a Padawan when Order 66 struck? Much like so many others, did she go on the run? And bear in mind, the series begins 1 year after the Clone Wars, so much of this show is the early Empire. But nonetheless, enough happens during this time that changes Maul as a character. Like I said, does he try to confront the Sith? And do they knock him down a peg or two? Is he humbled, and does that change him? Sam then goes on to say, a Sith would look at him and say, this guy has a lot of flaws. But those flaws are his good qualities. Those which the Jedi would look at and say, go with those. Those are your only redeeming qualities. So with Maul, there are certain things that he's about to learn, but his perspective on things has changed. Nonetheless, Sam warns us that Maul is still a very dangerous person. You can't trust him. And there is no dispute that Sam Witwer is one of the most knowledgeable people about Star Wars. And a brand new revelation from this interview is that some of his suggestions changed the trajectory of the show. His knowledge came in handy for the show's executives and creative minds. For instance, he freestyled a bunch of different ideas that they could include, and then later when he read the final script, he realized that many of his suggestions started appearing in the episodes. In his own words, he says, "There were a whole bunch of pitches. Then I go to Star Wars Celebration in Japan, and I just talk about what I talked with you guys about. And then I went to Athena Portillo, and I'm like, so I really blew it, because I just talked about a bunch of stuff that's not on the show." And she's like, "Just give it a second." So then I come back, and within a month, those things started appearing in the episodes, because at the time they were still working on them. And they were like, no, have faith. It's what you wanted. So now I feel nervous in a way because if people don't like it, I'm every bit as responsible as anyone else. It's my fault as much as it's anyone's fault. And I'll tell you why I find this super encouraging. Because Sam Witwer's been pitching random ideas at fan conventions and in interviews pretty much for the last 9 or 10 years. Some of those ideas I'm sure fed into Star Wars Rebels at the time, but when I've heard him talk about things like Ahsoka, or when I spoke to him we spoke about a what if for the Bad Batch, he sounds like a Star Wars fan who's really engaged with the content and has come up with so many amazing headcanons. And when it's a character that he loves, like Maul, you just know that if they listen to his concepts, this series is going to blow us away. I'm so much more encouraged for Maul Shadow Lord after hearing all of this. And finally, my friends, he gives his reaction to it and says, quote, "I really like the show, but I've also seen finished episodes where I'm like, I like this show. This is a cool Star Wars show. Very different to anything we've done so far." And I love that, because when it was announced at Celebration, I remember some fans were like, well, we kind of know where Maul's story has to end up. He's got to end up on Malachor, meeting Ezra Bridger, and we know about his revenge story trying to find Obi-Wan. So is there a purpose to this series, aside from maybe connections to Solo a Star Wars story? Is it just going to feel like an extension of the Clone Wars Season 7? Well, Sam Witwer is saying no. This is a very different kind of Maul. This is an uncertain Maul who goes through a lot in a very short period of time, and it changes him. So, I'm down, and I'm super excited. Like I said, my friends, Maul Shadow Lord drops in 2026, and those are the latest updates. And so based on all of this, I'm going to ask you guys, A, are you excited? And B, what are your theories and predictions? We know about a lot of the returning characters, Rook Cast, Inquisitor Marok, but who else do you expect to see? And so as promised, a big personal update. Just an announcement, a new project I'm working on that you might be interested in. So if you've been following me for a long time, then you know that outside of my Star Wars YouTube work, I'm a musician. I do share some of my compositions and mixes, whether they're orchestral or guitar or lo-fi, on my second channel, which is Meg's Cantina. But over the last few months, I've been working on a different kind of creative project. I've been composing original musical themes inspired by different Star Wars stories, different characters, and they're merely inspired by the Star Wars universe. These are in my own music style, there is nothing derivative, no affiliation with Disney, Lucasfilm or John Williams. And the reason I'm announcing this today is I will be releasing the first of these tracks by the end of next week. They're going to be on Spotify, Apple Music, basically everywhere, and check out my second channel Meg's Cantina to find it there too. This project wouldn't be possible without the financial support of my patrons, so if you're part of that community, thank you so much. And if you want to help out, why not join the channel or consider clicking the link down below. I appreciate that, and if you're a fan of Star Wars soundtracks, I think you'll enjoy them. They're entirely my own. But with all of that out of the way, share your thoughts in the comments down below, my dear friends. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you always.